Good morning, learners. Today we are going to talk about quality. It's very important as an entrepreneur to take care of the quality in the business. Why do we have to take care of quality? It's because you attract customers because of the quality of the products that you sell. And as soon as they are attracted, they tell other customers. And what does that mean? That simply means that you have customer loyalty. You've got people who will repeatedly come to you and buy your products. So it's very important that you build that base, strong base, customer base for your customers, for your business actually. In as much as good quality is very important, inferior quality is also very impacting on the business. It can also run you down in the manner that you can find yourself out of business if your quality is very inferior. So we are going to look at quality today, learners. You've got to know how to analyze quality of performance within the business functions, which can influence success or failure of a business. Now, what are you supposed to know in as far as quality is concerned in grade 12? First of all, you've got to know the concept of quality. You've got to be able to explain quality. So you may expect such a type of a question in section A, section B, or section C. You can expect to get a question that asks you to define or describe quality. You should also know how it relates to business functions. In other words, you should know how it impacts in the business functions. You should also know how it impacts on different business structures. Small businesses, sole trader, and large business. You should know how your quality impacts on that. So coming back, remember I said you should know the concept of quality. You should be able to define quality. So how do you define quality? You may say quality is the ability of a product, service, or system to satisfy a specific need. It refers to conformance to established standards. In other words, if a product is of a high quality or of a superior quality, then it means that it satisfies certain standards, be it reliability, durability, suitability, after-sales service, special features, but it must satisfy certain standards which are normally defined by the consumer or the customer himself. So quality also includes the extent to which the product is free from defects. If a product does not have defects, then we normally say it's of a high quality. Quality is measured against a specific criteria determined by the customers, just like I've just said. It is the customer that sets out the standards that he or she wants to be satisfied. This goes without saying that the business then in turn has to measure quality conforming to what the consumer wants. In other words, the business puts itself in the shoes of the consumer to say, what is it that the consumer wants? Then it designs the product according to those specifications or those standards. Now, I want us to look at the question paper that we once had based on quality in 2008. Just a minute. Here's the November paper of 2008. Question 8 was based on quality. Let's read the question together. Jabula Supermarket has certain business and management functions which are performed by the managers of the various departments within the organization. At the annual general meeting, Mr. Nkosi, as general manager, reported that the quality of performance within these business functions can contribute significantly to the success. Now, here comes the question. Identify and discuss any 5 business functions. Analyze how the quality of performance of these functions can contribute towards making the business more profitable. Include in your answer whether you agree with Mr. Nkosi's statement. Now, first of all, you've got to analyze the question. Looking at the question, identify and discuss any 5 business functions. That would be, in your analysis, that would be the first part of the question that you've got to answer. Identify and discuss any 5 business functions. That goes without saying that you cannot be able to know the quality that happens within the functions if you don't know what the functions themselves do. You've got to know what happens within the functions before you can be able to analyze the quality of performance within those functions. So this question requires of you to discuss what happens in the business functions. That is the first part. So as you are required to mention 5 of the 10 business functions. You mention only 5. And those 5, you've got to be able to know what happens in those functions. Okay. Let's go back to answering the question. Remember that the question paper, the essay has got 3 parts, which would be the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. Now, tackling the introduction, you should remember to address the topic. Address the topic. The topic talks about quality within the business functions. So that is what you've got to talk about in your introduction. You can talk about quality, you can talk about the functions, you can talk about quality within the functions. And again, remember not to repeat the scenario. It is said here that, let's go back to the question. Jabula Supermarket has certain business and management functions which are performed by the managers of various departments within the function. Don't say certain businesses and management functions are performed by managers of various departments within the organization. You are not going to get any marks for that because you are simply repeating the scenario. So always remember that you've got to relate to the topic in your introduction. And remember that you've got to write 3 statements that are factual. Write 3 facts about the topic, introducing the topic. And you may also explain the concepts. But if, for an example, if the question said, explain the concept quality, then identify and discuss any 5 business functions, then you are not supposed to explain that concept then. You are not supposed to explain what quality is, because remember in your introduction, I said you are only going to get 1 mark per statement. So if you repeat, if you explain that concept quality, yes, you are going to get credit, but you are going to get only 1 mark for 1 statement, which you are supposed to include in your body and get 2 marks for each statement that you put there. So make it a point that you relate to the topic and don't repeat the scenario. Then we come to the body. Before we talk about the body, before we get into the question itself, remember that in the body, you should write the subtopics. This question specifically tells you to identify and discuss any 5 business functions. So it goes without saying that the minute you mention the function itself, you get credit for that. It's 2 marks for mentioning each and every function. So it's a subtopic that is very important for you to write. So remember to write the subtopics and write full sentences. Your sentences should not be vague. You should write sentences which are going to be self-explanatory to the marker. The marker shouldn't ask himself or herself, how does this happen? You should write a sentence that makes sense in itself. You should also remember that we mark facts. We cannot mark you if you just write a sentence that is vague. You've got to write facts. And again, don't repeat sentences. Now let's go back to our question. You now get into the body. Again, going back to the question, remember, the question was, identify and discuss any 5 business functions. So you have to identify and discuss the functions. That is the first thing that you've got to do. In the 5 functions that you will write on, you identify and discuss. In other words, you write what is entailed in each and every business function. You analyze how quality of performance of these functions can contribute towards making the business more profitable. In other words, after writing the function, let's say for an example, you write marketing function. You explain what is entailed in the marketing function, then you go on to talk about quality of performance within that marketing function. So that is what you've got to do in all the functions that you will talk about. Let's go back. You start maybe talking about general management. General management must develop a strategic plan, and it consists of the following activities: planning, organizing, leading, and control. This that we've mentioned here is just an explanation of what is entailed in the general management. What is it that they are doing in the general management? That's what you've got to do. Now, after explaining or discussing this function, you go to the quality of performance within that function. That is the order in which you are going to answer this question. For each and every function, explain the function, start identifying the function, explain it, thereafter explain the quality of performance within that function. Now we are discussing general management. Remember, general management, they have started by developing the strategic plan and doing the following activities: planning, organizing, leading, and control. Now that the plans are there, now that the missions and visions of the company are there, what is it that they should do to ensure that this management performs to its best, or they get quality? This mission and vision must be communicated to the employees to inform them of the need for quality to live up to the vision. Remember, the vision and mission are set by the top management of the business. So more often than not, people who are at operational level are not even aware of the bigger picture or of the vision and mission of the business. Therefore, to ensure that there is quality of performance within this function, these must be communicated. People on the ground must be aware of what is it that they should do in order to achieve the vision and mission of the company. The cleaner should know what the contribution that she's doing. She should know how it impacts on the bigger picture or on the vision and mission of the company. People should not just work, but they should know how their work contributes to the performance, overall performance of the business. Again, ensuring the ongoing development, implementation, and control of the strategic plan. Remember, it is the duty of the management to set the mission and vision of the company. Now, this must be continually developed. They must be implemented and be controlled. In other words, you don't just set strategies and then leave them and continue with something else. You've got to continually look at the strategic plans, continually look at the operations that are taking place in the business. Ask yourself if those operations are in line with the mission and vision of the business. For an example, you've got tools like the balanced scorecard that you can make use of. Remember, it will help you to see if the basic operations of the business are in line with the vision and mission of the company. So tools like the balanced scorecard, tools like Potter's 5 will help you to analyze the market environment and to see if there are any challenges that must be tackled, or if there are any strategies that have to be put in place because of the challenges that are coming in the market environment. We also have the SWOT analysis that you can also use as a tool, as a strategic tool to scan your environment. So from time to time, you've got to always look at your environment, because this the business environment is a very dynamic environment. It changes from time to time. So you must always be on the lookout for any changes that may impact on your business. And it is your duty in the general management function to ensure that any changes that are coming, you are fully aware of them, so that you can take action well in time. And remember, you want to not necessarily to outplay your competitors, but you've got to be on the lookout so that they don't take over your business. Because if they are fully aware of changes that may be coming before yourself, you may find yourself out of the business very soon. So you've got to be on the edge from time to time with your competitors. Be sure that you take action well in time, so that you are not thrown out of the business. It's a world of competition. So that is quality, what you will be doing. If you take those tools and check if what you are doing is in line with your vision and mission, that is quality. And you also have to ensure that employees are utilized efficiently. You also have to be aware that competitors, employees that are not used efficiently will just be utilizing the funds of the business and to no use to the business. It's a loss actually. You've got to be sure that actually every employee is utilized efficiently. People must be used to the advantage of the business. Their skills must be efficiently utilized by the business. You must also closely control all the business functions through a process of high quality reporting. All these functions must report to you. You must know what happens within the functions, so as you control these functions or the operations of these functions. So that would be addressing the quality within general management. I want you to be aware that many times learners used to, if they come across a question of this nature, they just answer the nature of general management without talking about quality. There should be a difference between what happens within the general management and quality of performance within the general management. Now remember that when you talk about the nature, you are just discussing the function, and that should be just a discussion of what is entailed in the function. Also, when you talk about the quality of performance, that's where you need to show how this quality impacts in the function. How does it relate to the function? So those two should be different. They should not be treated as if they are the same thing. There are questions which may just require of you to talk about quality of performance. So in that case, you don't talk about the nature, or you don't explain what happens within the function. You just talk about quality. What should the business do, or what should the function do to ensure that there is superior quality within the function? So note that. Again, you are going to do that with all these functions, all the 5 functions that you are going to mention. That's what you've got to do. Financing function, for an example, if you choose financing function, you have to explain, remember, what happens in the financing function. You have to discuss the function as it is. What is taking place in the function? The main function of the finance department is to ensure that the business makes profit. That is the main function of the finance department. So this function must determine the need for funds. Do we need to borrow funds? Do we need funds, first of all? Do we need funds? Or do we need to finance a certain department? Those are the needs that you've got to analyze if you are in the financing function. You also have to acquire the funds from the most suitable sources. You just explained what happens in the function, financing function. Now we've got to talk about quality of performance within financing. First of all, remember that you acquire funds as part of the job that you do in the financing function. You have to acquire funds. Now, for quality, you must ensure that these funds are applied effectively to ensure profitability. They must be made to put to good use. If you have acquired funds, those funds must be effectively applied so that we always see profitability of the business. Remember, the business is at stake here. The stakeholders are very interested in what happens in the business. So there must be profitability. If you always operate at a loss, then your business will go out of business very soon. Financial statements must deliver accurate quality data and must be timelessly to management and other departments. You've got to draw up financial statements and you must deliver them, and the information that is contained in those statements must be true. They must be accurate. You must always be certain that the information that you give is accurate, because more often than not you'll find that it may be a business where people are very interested, people have got interest there, like the investors. So you've got to deliver accurate information. Cash control system must be secure and safe. Performance of the business must be checked against the budget. People must not just spend money lavishly, but it must be checked against the budget. If the production department has been allocated 200,000, 200,000 must be utilized for the performance of the business. You cannot go overboard and need 300,000 when you are allocated 200,000. Again, you must not underspend. If you are allocated 200,000, you must use 200,000, not 100,000, because then it shows that you are not efficient. That is addressing quality. You can go on with the production function. For an example, what do? They convert raw materials into finished products of a predetermined standard. That's what the production function do. So remember, this addresses discussion of what is happening, discussion of the function itself, converting of raw materials into finished products. Quality of performance within the production function. The products must meet the needs of the consumer in terms of quality of safety, reliability, durability. You must ensure that the products that you produce in the production function meet the standards or the needs of the consumers. If the consumer feels that this product must be durable, that's exactly what you must do. So you must produce this product having that in mind, that this product that I'm producing must have must be able to satisfy the needs of the consumer. Quality control on items produced must be carried out with inspections and tests. You cannot go on producing without inspections and tests. You have to control quality of the items that you produce. Therefore, you should run tests and inspections of the products that you are producing to ensure quality. Cost control system will keep costs within budget, which will ensure quality delivery of products. You must be able to maintain the costs that are allocated to you in the production function. You must be able to spend the money that was allocated to you. That will ensure quality delivery of products. Production cost calculation must be accurate and reliable and must be checked to ensure that standard procedures are followed. You remember we've got these production cost calculations. Those must be very accurate. Then you'll get quality if you are able to calculate exactly how much will it cost us to produce this product. Remember in the other question paper that we had, the very same 2008 question paper, in the memo there was this thing that appeared especially in the production function that apply the same principles to quality and time. So I've seen when I mark some learners that some of the learners write the same thing, apply the principles of quality and time. Please don't write that. You have to explain the importance of time with relation to the production function, that products must be produced in time. That is quality. So don't write, apply the same principle. I don't even think that learners who write that understand what they are writing. So avoid writing that. Coming to the human resources function, you are going to do exactly the same thing. Explain the function, then talk about the quality of the function, quality of performance within the function. This function is responsible for finding suitable people for the job. They have to place suitable, capable people who are having the required skill to perform. They have to appoint a person to the position where his capabilities can be used to the benefit of the business. Now, quality of performance within the human resources. There must be continuous training or upskilling of staff, which will ensure that the business remains competitive. If the business has got people who are skilled to do their job, who are always trained or who are always upskilled to perform their duties, it goes without saying that will always get quality in that business. The recruitment policy should attract the best candidates. They should set high standards when they advertise jobs. Remuneration packages must be fair and aligned to the industry. If you advertise jobs and you place people, skilled people there, actually what you are talking about here is that you should remunerate people in a way that will satisfy them and will attract them to the business and will sustain them. You don't want to see the business having this group of employees now, another group of employees the next day, another group of employees the next day. I mean, you are not going to get quality in such a situation. You've got to ensure that the business maintains or sustains the staff. You can only do that if your remuneration packages are fair and aligned to the industry. Because if you don't do that, then other industries or other companies which offer fair or attractive packages, remuneration packages, will definitely employ such skilled employees. So you should ensure, for quality purposes, you should ensure that these people are attracted to stay here. In other words, we are here not only talking about the salary, but we are talking about the whole package. There should be other benefits that attract people to your business or that makes them stay in your business. Performance incentives for staffs can enhance quality delivery of excellent work. If you've got incentives, your staff will definitely strive to perform at their best because they know that there is something that they will get if I do my best. And also on the other hand, if people don't perform to their best, they will know that they are not going to get anything. So for quality purposes, you should have those incentives in place which will make people want to do more or to do better or to excel in their work. Public relations functions. It's responsible for communication of a positive company image. The image of the business should be projected to the outside world. This image must be communicated to communities, businesses, and people outside the company. That's what the public relations do. Now, quality of performance within the public relations function. The image of the business should be communicated through the delivery of quality products. If you deliver quality products, then you are projecting what the image of your business is. Poor quality projects poor business and poor management. But if you produce goods of superior quality, then you are actually speaking well of your business. Regular press statements can be released to inform the public about the business social responsibility programs. The minute you go onto the press or the media talking about social responsibility programs, even talking about the products that you produce, talking about the business itself, that is quality, because you'll see the minute you do that, the minute you are in contact with the outside world, you attract customers or clients to your business. Social responsibility programs also improves the image of the business. Remember when you talked about social responsibility, talking about the benefits of social responsibility to the business, we always say that it improves the image of the business. So it is the public relations functions that do that job. They project the image of the business. They even improve the image of the business by talking about the social responsibility programs. Risk management. This is a function which was not standing alone, but because of King Code, it was recommended that it stands alone. So what does it do? It deals with issues of how to avoid, reduce, eliminate, or prevent risk occurrence or exposure. The following processes are important in risk management: risk identification, risk analysis, risk control, and risk funding. This was a function that was usually performed by sometimes the management of the business and sometimes the finance function. They just saw it as one of their duties. But because of this recommendation, it is now a standalone function, risk management. So they are just looking at the risks. They try to identify the risks. They try to analyze those risks, to try to put them in figures or in values, to say this risk will be equal to this value. They try to control those risks. They try to fund the risks. How do they control? They look at how best they can reduce or eliminate or shift the risks. Now, quality of performance within the risk management function. The business must have systems in place to identify the risks, Every risk, small or worthless, should be recorded. Risk control measures ensure that business losses are minimized. Provision for fire escapes and evacuation procedures can prevent human injuries, casualties, and deaths in the workplace. So to minimize the risk, you can provide fire escapes or evacuation procedures. That is quality to prevent deaths or injuries. You also have to formulate strategies to protect critical assets that are exposed to threats. You have to minimize the risk by taking out an insurance policy or budget for possible losses. If you don't take out the insurance policy, you can then put money aside. So as should there be a risk, then you know that it is covered. You should evaluate the risk by attaching a monetary value to potential losses. Like I said before, they have to analyze the risk to say this risk can be equal to this much in rent, so that they are able to put aside the correct amount of money should anything happen. They have to control the risk and find ways of minimizing the risk. It involves identifying risks, finding strategies to deal with risk, e.g., transferring the risk, minimizing the risk, or avoiding the risk. This other function, information technology or management information systems, is one other function that was usually not standing alone. We used to say we've got 8 functions, but now we can talk about 10 functions, because over and above those 8, we've got risk management, we also have information technology. Now, what do? They manage information, because this is very important. Remember that the business world is very dynamic. It changes every day. It changes from time to time. So they've got to manage information. Many decisions are based on historical data. Now, talking about quality, timely availability of data is necessary. It's very important that information should be received on time. Decisions based on incorrect data may be costly. The people who are working here must be ensured that the information that they put in their computers is very accurate, because that can be very deadly to the business if they put in incorrect data. Easy electronic access to global information can help in making business decisions and help in international trade. This IT or MIS, as we usually call them, it's very important that they should be updated. They should be updated according to the changes that take place, because if they don't update them, they can find that the information that they've got is stale and cannot be used anymore. Now, when you write your conclusion, remember that you've got to write one factual statement. And remember, do not repeat your statements. So in conclusion, you can say the management functions mentioned above cannot operate in isolation. Or you can say quality performance of the business functions leads to overall improvement and profitability of the enterprise. Or you can say continuous monitoring and evaluation of the performance management systems must be in place. Now you'll see that the mark allocation there is 2 multiplied by 1. It means you write any 2 statements and you get 1 mark for each. But this has changed. Remember, I said we are talking about the 2008 question paper here. But this has since changed. You need to write only 1 statement, which will be 2 marks. And it should have enough facts for the marker to allocate you 2 marks. Now, remember that we said, when talking about quality, you've got to know quality of performance within the functions. You also have to know how quality impacts on different business structures. In other words, how does quality impact on the small business? How does quality impact on the large business? Quality is important. and can contribute to the sustainability of the business. If you've got quality in the business, your business will definitely be sustainable because you attract customers. Like I said before, you attract customers if you give quality. Whether a business is small or large, quality will always be important. So quality is not just important for a small business or a large business. It's important for any business. Poor quality is costly in small or large businesses. From the 2012 question paper, we had a question 3.6 that said, examine the impact of quality on small and large businesses for 10 marks. Answering that question, remember it talks about the impact of quality on small and large businesses. So impact can be either positive or negative. So I tried to group them so that we've got the positive and the negative impact. In a small business, quality is controlled by the owner himself. We are now talking about how quality impacts in a small business. Remember that it is controlled by the owner himself. In a situation where the owner manufactures the products himself, he can ensure that he produces quality products. You are the owner of the business, you produce yourself. You can always ensure that what you are producing is of high quality or of superior quality. But when the business is run with the help of a few employees, it may be a bit difficult to ensure quality as the owner becomes involved with the running of the business. The owner goes up and down, ensuring that he runs the business. So here and there, he may miss out on quality. So that can be very costly for the business. Limited resources sometimes make it difficult to do quality tracking because it is very expensive. Remember, it is a small business. So the resources are even small because in some cases it is a one-man business. So in such cases, it's difficult to track quality because that requires a lot of money. However, the small business manager must ensure that quality control remains a high quality, a high priority. It's important whether your business is small or large. Now, in the large business, larger businesses are able to deliver better quality because employees specialize in what they do. Remember, specialization, that makes it easier for them to deliver better quality because every person just do one job that he's fully aware of, that he's an expert in. Larger businesses are able to establish reliable and efficient inspection methods to minimize the production of defects. They've got inspection methods. They've got the systems in place that they can make use of to detect the quality of the product. As a result, production of defects is minimized to a very large extent. On the other hand, it is impossible to check the quality of all goods. Large production, it is not possible to. Usually what happens here is products are sampled. So it is not possible to check each and every product for its quality. So you may miss out on the quality of some products because you've just sampled products to control their quality. Larger businesses can become ineffective and employees become less motivated, which can impact very negatively on quality. It is always a problem that in a big business, people are not even aware of the vision and mission of the company or of the business. Therefore, they miss out on quality. They don't know that they've got to perform at this rate because there is no close communication, there is no close monitoring like if it was a small business. So that can impact very negatively on quality. So remember, learners, when you answer this question, that you've got to explain the nature of quality if that was asked. If you come across a question like this one, where you identify and discuss any business function, then it goes without saying that you've got to explain the nature of the functions. But there are other questions which will not require you to explain the business function. They'll just require you to analyze the quality of performance of these functions, and in that case, that is exactly what you'll have to do. And in that case, you will not explain the functions. You just have to analyze quality of performance. So, learners, let's take a break and look at other topics from here on. Thank you very much.